Pulling up the notes. Hey, man, and here's the deal. We've had a ton of technical internet issues lately. So I really have upgraded my internet. I've worked on everything. So hopefully we have no issues whatsoever.
If it happens, it happens. I'm
It's
easy
supposed to
with
be.
it.
That's why I love you. Corley Moore, Firehouse Vigilance, weekly scrap number 151. My guest this evening is none other than Frank Viscuso. He gave 26 years of his life to the fire service, where he has heavily involved in everything from SOG development, promotions, writing for grants, rookies, and promotional processes. He's the author of nine books, including bestsellers Step Up and Lead. His newest book, Flashpoint, Ignite Your Team and Forge a Winning Culture. He travels the country and speaks to audiences everywhere inside and outside of the fire service, which is a rarity, on topics of leadership, team building, officer development. He travels, he teaches, he keynotes, and most importantly, he shares his passion for leadership and building high-performance teams. It is my pleasure to have Chief Frank Viscuso. Welcome, my brother and my friend, to Weekly Scrap number 151.
Hey, man, thank you so much for the invite. I love the scrap. I love being here, so I'm excited.
Dude, I'm excited because I've had this book for about a week, and now I get to talk to the guy who actually wrote the book. So I'm the luckiest dude in the fire service.
Well, I do a little bit of podcasting, not quite like you do, and it's so great, man, because you really get to spend time getting to really know what people are all about. I say this even when we have these political elections, and you're trying to figure out who a candidate is. Forget about watching the debates. Listen to their podcast interviews. You get an hour and a half of them on a show like this or Joe Rogan, where you get to sit there and listen to what they really think about everything. And it's so much more intimate and powerful. So thank you.
Insightful. Insightful
very much.
If people are willing to take the time. That's the thing. Anything I missed on the intro? Anything you would like to add?
Yeah, man. I spend a lot more time with my family than I do traveling and doing all that stuff. So I am family first. First, family first.
Nice. No,
I
love
like
that.
the accolades are nice about all that other stuff, but for me, it's all about taking care of business at home.
Whenever I ask that question and then someone says, yes, I have something I want to add, my heart kind of drops because I missed something. That's beautiful. I love that. I love that you wanted to clarify that. Here we go. Kyle Romagus usually catches all questions in the chat, and he throws them at me on my laptop. This is his birthday weekend. So
Awesome.
Everybody should tell Kyle Romagus happy birthday. Go to Smoothbore Cartel and say happy birthday, Kyle. Besides that, he's not going to be here tonight, so it's me solo, and so I will catch as many questions as I can. Other things out the front. The Vigilantes, one of the greatest groups out there. I throw stuff. This week I threw a section of SOGs I'm working on, and I threw it up in the Vigilantes and said, hey, what do you guys think of this? This is what I'm going for. And they gave me a ton of feedback. So if you want to be a part of that, go to firehousevigilance.com, support the scrap, and you can be a part of the Vigilantes. It's all there. Sunday, we're going to be doing a forum and discussing electric vehicle fires and Jared Sergi's book, No Nonsense Leadership. And we're going to be deciding what book we're going to read for August, which I'm going to push for this one, just so everybody, it's a spoiler alert. And then, so go there and do that. So all that being said, I'm going to do my housekeeping right out the gate. This episode is brought to you by Key Hose, the hose experts. Elkhart Brass, a Safe Fleet brand. I absolutely love their Brass Tacks and Hard Facts. If you do not watch Brass Tacks and Hard Facts and you're a firefighter, go check them out on YouTube and do so. Every firefighter should check them out. And then Rescue One CBD, find them at rescue1cbd.com. And of course, Iron Fox Tool Company, made in the USA, some of the best tools on the planet. So there we go. That's who's sponsoring this episode. And now, with all the housekeeping out of the way, Chief, I'm going to catch you up on some comments, and then we're going to kick this off.
Sounds good.
Marco Asson said, let's go. Ready for a great evening of discussion and rabbit holes. Joey Hayes said, Chief V in the house. Looking forward to this one for sure. Let's get this party started, from Eric Thiel. Bradley Valiancourt said, just got the new book. Looking for, yeah, there we go. It keeps scrolling on me. This is where I miss Kyle. Chief Viscuso is one of the most humblest people I've ever met and heard speak. Top notch, fire service brother, and fireman's fireman. And that is a huge compliment coming from Tony Nunez, our man out of North Florida. And Jared Van Eck, one of my favorite mustaches in the fire service, said, another great Jersey guy. So there we go.
All right.
We're caught up.
Jersey's in the house. Let's start by saying happy birthday, Kyle.
I love it. Happy birthday. I think he's 38. I'm not sure on that, but I know he's pushing 40 because I told him.
He'll be 38 from now moving forward every year.
All right. Chief, you are very well known for step up and lead, step up your teamwork. I mean, the common valor and of course, other things, but I'm a huge fan of those. But today, specifically, I wanted to talk about your new book. So tell me the difference between step up and lead and Flashpoint and what brought this on and kind of the germ and go.
Yeah, well, let's talk for a moment just about Step Up and Lead. Step Up and Lead was a book that I was so passionate about writing because it was, I just felt there was a better way to get a better result, to lead people better, to make people feel like they were part of something big and get a better performance out of people. And that was years and years and years of I guess, educating myself and trying things in and out of the fire service. And man, I love that book. Somebody even said to me just today, so you have 9 books. Which book should I suggest first for a brand new firefighter? I said, Step Up and Lead. Always Step Up and Lead. Start with that. If you haven't read that, start with that. Flashpoint. And let me just explain this to you. Being a guy who's done a lot of writing yourself, Corley. Listen, I have a tactical book, which features 70 SOGs. I have a novel. I have a children's book. I wrote with Paul Combs.
I didn't even bring up Sprinkles. I forgot Sprinkles because that's one of the greatest things ever. So go ahead.
Well, Sprinkles was another story. We can talk about that in a moment. But all of these books. See, I had a system for writing books. Okay, here's my system. Flat out. Because I know there's a lot of people that want to create something, write something. I could show you a book that my son wrote. He's 11, that he wrote 2 years ago, a children's book, because I wanted to teach him a system, right? Now, so here's the system. It's quite simple. I figure out what I want to write, and I have to be passionate about it. It hits me. I don't sit here and think, what do I want to write? Something hits me and says, Frank, you have to write this book. That's step one.
Nice.
And then my system is, it's a 3-month process. For 3 months, I'm going to write every single day. And some days I'm going to write 2 paragraphs, and some days I'm going to write for 6 hours. It's just the way it is. I don't push it. I don't force it. For me, I let it flow, man. I just let it flow the way that it's supposed to come out. I believe that, what is supposed to happen is going to happen on a day it's going to happen. Even when I speak, somebody says, how do you get your events? Man, I don't know. I don't promote. I don't do anything. I don't go looking for it. People ask me to come in, and I go where I feel I'm supposed to be. I say what I feel like I'm supposed to say, because I used to be stressed out trying to do everything right all the time, and I let that part go of me. I change the channel and say enjoy. So it's a 3-month process of writing it. Then I put it away for a month. Then I pull it back out and I reread it and I fine tune it, and that's another 3 months total. So 6 months from when I say I need to write this book, it's done. And I don't shop it around or try to get my publisher to be interested. I don't even let them know I'm working on it. I just say I wrote another book. That's it. This book, Flashpoint, was a whole different process. Flashpoint, I've had the chapters for Flashpoint on my wall for about 5 years. I'm teaching a class for many years. I gave probably 6 years ago, I gave a keynote called Flashpoint, and I transcribed. I had my niece, actually, I had her transcribe the whole thing for me. And I said, this is a good book. And it wasn't until COVID hit. I was just too busy.
Right.
When COVID hit, everything shut down. And when you travel and speak for a living, it's humbling. It's scary. I will tell you, it was a great thing for me to really get extremely great quality time with my family. But I sat down and I wrote that book. And then it sat on my computer for about 1.5 years. And then I said, I'm ready to put this thing out. And this is what it is. Flashpoint introduces readers to what I've been teaching for many years, the 4 stages of team development. I compare the stages of team development to the stages of fire: incipient growth, fully developed, and decay. And I'm sure we can talk about them in a minute. But then I talk about the 8 steps you have to take to reach that fully developed stage. Now, understand, I've built successful teams in and out of the fire service. I had a very successful sales team. I talk about the baseball teams I've coached. My team that I gave an FDIC speech, a few months ago. I said our team won 9 championships. We're going to win 10. We just won our 10th this past weekend, and they're going to win 20. Yeah, and it's just because the process that we do to help make that team be able to function at a high level, you have to take certain steps. And so these 8 steps that I teach, what I realized that because it's been on my wall for 5 years, I'm looking at it all the time. I'm looking at it right now. And as I'm looking at it, I think those are the same 8 steps I've taken to achieve personal success too. Nice. Exactly the same 8 steps, right, Corey? So it's not like I said, hey, if you want to build a team, you need to have your team do these 8 things. No, these are 8 things that they need to do and you need to do. And even if you're just, look, I'm a speaker. I don't have a team. But I've done these 8 things to become successful as a writer and as a speaker and as a fire chief. Leading a team in the fire service, leading a team in sports, leading a team in sales. I've done these 8 things. I didn't realize I was even doing it. But when I sat back and I think, what do you need to do to achieve success? Like step 1, for example, set expectations up front. You know how many people in leadership positions don't actually sit down with their team and say, this is what our goal is, or at least have the discussion, say, what do you want our goal to be? They don't do that.
No, sadly enough, I'm highly aware.
Right.
No, yep.
Right. Like who sets goals? I mean, if you set goals, you have a greater chance of achieving them. I set goals all the time. I set goals daily. This is what I need to accomplish today. Every day, it's a habit. And then I set goals at the beginning of every year. I set a goal this year. I'm going to publish 2 books. One of them's out. The other one will be coming out soon. Right. So like these are my goals. And as a team, when you're leading a team, you have to have a goal. That's why. And I got to tell you, and you know this about me already. I say things in public, man. I say this is going to happen. That's why I'm saying to you right now, our team will win will win 20 championships, and I've said they're going to win 10 before they hit 5, because it's something that I think that if you don't set the goal and put it out there, it doesn't happen.
Is that vision casting?
For years. What's that?
Is that vision casting? Or
yeah,
is that,
man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and how powerful is it? I've said for years I'm going to write 10 books. I don't know what they're going to be. And now I'm sitting there going, well, now I got my 10th one coming out, and I already have 2 that are sitting on my computer. Right? So maybe there's going to be more than 10.
Right.
I remember Corey sitting in the chief's office, the deputy chief's office, when I was cleaning it as a firefighter and he's not in the room, and I'd sit in his chair at his desk and I'd just sit around and say, yeah, I can see myself here. I don't know how, but I'm going to get here one day. And then one day here I am, a deputy chief. And so, yeah, maybe vision casting, projecting, whatever you may call it, man.
No,
but I think people need to do it.
It's more than just goal setting. It's kind of a optimism mixed with a belief, mixed with a forecasting, mixed with. Does that make sense? What I'm saying? I know it does to
man.
you.
Yeah, I never told this story on a podcast, but here's something very interesting. Years ago, I had a vision board, a dream board, a vision board. I had 16 things on it. The very first thing was a new pair of shoes. The second thing was a brand new suit because I wanted a new suit. I had a new car on there, and it was a Mercedes. I had everything up to a vacation house. That was a 16th thing. And I worked really hard for several years, and I looked at it for several years. And at the end, yeah, I had the shoes. I had the new suit. I had several new suits. I had some things. But I got frustrated because I'm like, I'm nowhere close to the car or the vacation house. And I took it and I rolled it up and I put it in my closet. Okay. Probably about 6 or 7 years go by. I'm reading books, I'm studying. I'm still thinking about the things. I just don't want to look at it every day because it's frustrating to look at every day. But here's the thing, Corey, it was here. Several years later, I end up selling my house. And when I'm selling my house and moving into a nicer home, I'm cleaning it out. I go into that closet. I find the vision board. I unroll it, and I had everything on it, including a vacation house. I had everything on it. And I thought, oh, my God, it worked. Because I wanted it so bad, and not the materialistic thing. Understand that. It's never been about the material. It's not like, hey, man, I drive a Jeep right now that has almost 200,000 miles on it, and I'll go for 3, okay? Because I don't care about that stuff anymore. It's about the fact that if you project it, you want to be an officer. It's not just about wanting to be an officer. You want to be a great officer, okay? Let's first of all put that out there. But if you want to be an officer, you don't need anyone's permission to sit down and tell you, hey, Corey, you can do this. You can be a podcaster. You could be an author. You could be a deputy chief. You don't need anyone's permission. You just need to go out and do it. And if you want to be great at it, the resources are there for us to learn how to be great at anything. You just got to put the time in to learn.
Well, I love it, man. I absolutely love it. The Chief is rocking it. Another great leader from New Jersey. That comes from John Hayowick. Absolutely. Jared Van Eck. Yes, yes, sir. No Lopez said, love Frank Viscuso, a well-spoken man that is as humble as can be. John Spear said, such a good person. You got some awesome...
You're mentioning a lot of people that I communicate with on social media all the time. See, I just had a baseball practice with our kids, right? And after practice, my son just got a new phone because he's going to be going on a bus. It's that time again. He's 11. He's the young one, and they're looking at their phones. And one of them, while we were there, the youngest one who doesn't practice, he's the young brother. He got banned on TikTok because if you're under 13 and they figure that out, they ban you. Not ban you, but they shut your account. This happened to him, and he was upset about it. And they were all talking about it. My son's got his account shut down about 4 times now. He goes viral every time, and then they shut it down. So I said, hey, I want to talk to y'all. And we like to end our practices with a life lesson. And I said, listen, it's great that you guys are using social media. And I use some of my best friends I still communicate with through social media. Look at what we're doing right now on social media. I built my entire business on social media. And I connect with everybody. I love it. But I told them, there was a time as a deputy chief when we were hiring new people, my chief said, see if you could find all these people on the list. See if you could find all their social media accounts and let's see what they're really about.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking at their social media accounts, and you can find, stuff they post, things they do, people they hang out with, things they say. And it tells you a lot about a person. And I told these kids, I told them, be very careful. Be very careful, because it could be a great thing, but it could be something that could destroy you at the same time. We need to have these conversations with our firefighters. Free speech isn't free from consequence. We've talked about that before, but be smart in the things you post. Represent 2 things very well at all times: the name on your helmet and the name on the back of your jacket. Represent them to the best of your ability at all times. That doesn't mean everything you do is going to make everybody happy. It never will. But doing the right thing is not always an easy thing, but it's still the right thing.
It's still the right thing, man. I love that message. Absolutely love the message. All right, getting my notes back up here because we've already started some good rants.
Yeah. I can rant.
Flashpoint and the 4 stages of team development. Because here's what I love, and I wanted to kind of talk about this for a second. Is it's not just there are legitimate steps to take, man. That's what I love. It's not just theoretical. It's not this amorphous ghost trying to grab smoke. It's steps you can take. So talk to me about the 4 stages of team development.
Yeah, I mean, the 4 stages is all about we want to get to a certain level as a team, and then the steps will help you get to one of those 4 stages. And you're exactly right. This is what I found out. If you eliminate any of them, we could talk about them momentarily, but if you eliminate any of them, you can maybe still get there. It's going to be harder. But now imagine this. Imagine your team now is a fire. We know what the 4 stages of fire are: incipient, growth, fully developed, and decay. The incipient stage of a fire, I mean, it might go out on its own, or it might burn down a building. Anything can happen in the incipient stage. But the incipient stage of a team is when a young new group comes together, and it doesn't have to be young in age, just young and working together. But a new group comes together with the intentions of accomplishing a goal. They're small, but they've ignited and they're ready to produce. And that can go in any direction, and if you feed it fuel, it's going to become, it's going to move into the growth stage. If you don't, it's going to burn out. And so I compare those 2 stages of fire to the stages of team. And quite honestly, there's a couple things that'll keep you from moving past that stage. I find this, though, in the fire service, rarely, as you mentioned earlier, I speak outside of the fire service quite often. I see more incipient teams outside the fire service because it's, hey, we just started it's a new startup.
Right.
We're not new startups in the fire service. You may have new personnel, you may have new equipment, but only twice in 10 years of me traveling the country, speaking the world, really, but only twice have I come upon departments that just started. I mean, that month. And they had new firefighters, new apparatus, no SOPs or SOGs, no rules, regulations. They're trying to figure it out. But even on one of them, they had 50% of their members were firefighters from another organization that came over. So even that would take them out of the incipient stage. So I don't spend too much time when I talk to firefighters in that stage. But now think about the growth stage. In the growth stage, results start to happen. We start producing. We start saying, hey, we figured some things out. This works, that works. And we start, creating some of these policies or SOPs to help us and just muscle memory from training, all that stuff. But in the growth stage is where conflict can occur.
Right on.
Because, think about this, Corey. What is conflict? Conflict is a collision of histories. Okay. You're passionate about your point of view. I'm passionate about my point of view. Now, let's imagine that we get together and we start talking and we have a complete different point of view.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, conflict.
Yeah, I can see it.
And with guys like you and me, I don't think guys like you and me would have conflict with each other because we can respect each other. We respect the opposing point of view. But there's a lot of people out there that are being taught to hate or fear the opposing point of view. That's the way it's working out there. The media's doing it. The politicians, everybody's doing it.
I'm right, you're wrong.
Yes. Right, I'm right, you're wrong. There's no middle.
Yes.
And that's a bunch of crap.
And I can't see any merits in anything you might bring to the table because I'm right and you're wrong. Yes, 100%.
Right, and because they can't actually intellectually sit here and say, you are 100% wrong in your thought process because some of what they say might be right, they instead try to discredit the other person and tear them down and do everything they can to basically smear that person. And because it's happening all over the media and the news and in politics, we got a new generation of people that are doing it. Social media.
No, it's the norm. It's the norm. Yes.
If a kid posts something on social media and he types the wrong word and he starts getting, picked on. I mean, when you're talking about a 10-year-old kid that's in a sense getting bullied, on social media, it is bullying for a 10-year-old kid when everybody, but they don't care. I see professional athletes that are friends of mine that post a picture of their family during a holiday and people are smearing them and saying things about their wife or their children and the way they look and saying, hey, you're a has-been. When are you going to retire? Like, what's that about? How about just saying, hey, man, I hope you enjoy your time with your family?
No doubt.
But that's the part about the growth stage is the growth stage has more to do with us learning how to get along with each other and dealing with conflict. Because how do people typically deal with conflict? There's three ways, right? They ignore it. And if you ignore it, it's like ignoring a fire. It's not going out. It can grow. They fight it out. And that's what we were just talking about right now. Fighting it out, there's a clear winner and a clear loser. Or the third way they deal with it, which is the right way, is through compromise. And compromise is quite simply, is there a way we could both feel good about the outcome? That's what compromise is. And that's why we have negotiations. And I don't understand why people think compromise is a bad thing. Because there is, if I'm negotiating with somebody over something and I don't know if this is a great deal for me, but I know it's not really a bad deal for me, that person's probably feeling the exact same way.
Right.
So that's probably a good thing. Obviously I want everything to be the best deal for me, but if it's always the best deal for me, nobody's ever going to want to do business with me and negotiate with me because they're like, no, he's only out for himself. You understand? I mean,
oh, absolutely.
So that's the part of the growth stage. Now let's move to fully developed. That's where you want to be. And for the record, the growth stage is a good place to be.
Okay.
You can't stay fully developed. That's when everything's working perfectly. That's when, your
the
team
mountaintop?
just went. Yeah.
Okay.
Your team just went 14-0. You're fully developed. You just won 3 championships, 3 back to, three-peat. Like our little league team, they're Saturday, tomorrow, they play for their 3rd state championship in a row. That's fully developed. And if they win, they go to Bristol, Connecticut. And if they win there, they're going to the Little League World Series 2 years in a row. Completely different players, completely different coaches, but the same program.
Right.
That's fully developed. Our kids that played in the Little League World Series last year at the age of 12 are now in California playing in the Little League World Series for their age group again because they just won. Two of the softball teams just won the states in their age group. I mean, this program here in Toms River is fully developed program. Does that mean they don't have any problems? Of course we have problems.
Right.
But there are systems.
The principles, the steps, they work.
They work.
They work.
Now, to get fully developed, how do you know you're there? Well, that's one of the things. You have systems in place. Everybody gets off an apparatus. They know their job. Everybody understands we have a policy or procedure in this. They've trained on it. They've prepared. They've created muscle memory. You have momentum. You have urgency. You have all these things that like franchises have. Between the systems and the policies and the training behind it, so everybody could function at a high level. And that's where you want to be. Now, when I teach this class, and even in the book, when I'm talking about being fully developed, I talk about the concept of winning the position. Winning the position. Now, think about two wrestlers, Corey. I don't know if you ever wrestled when you were younger, but
I did not. But I'm heavy into jiu-jitsu. So
well, there you go. So perfect example. Jiu-jitsu and wrestling, very similar concept. Is what is your goal when you're competing? Your goal is to win the position. Okay, win the position. So when two wrestlers are going at it and one gets a takedown, that one that got the takedown just won the position. But now you have a new position. The one on top is trying to ride that person out or turn them over and get back points. The one on bottom is trying to get out or escape to get 1 or 2 points for a reversal or an escape.
Absolutely.
So the one that's on bottom has to have this mindset of the end of a failed strategy is the beginning of your new strategy.
Right.
So now I have to win the next position. Fully developed teams have that mindset. Win the position constantly. What's the position? How about apparatus placement? How about hose line selection and deployment?
Nice.
How about ladder placement, right? Search and rescue, you name it. It's constantly winning positions on the fire ground or whatever field a person's in.
Right.
That will allow them to achieve. And that's what, and you'll know, there's the thing about being fully developed. You'll know when you're there, but you'll also know you can't stay there. And here's another thing about it. You can work on a department that has 3 groups and say 4 different stations. So in any one of these given stations on any one of them groups, you might have a team that's fully developed, a team that's in the growth stage, and a team that's in the decay stage.
Right.
So let's talk about the decay stage. A question I ask everywhere I go is, do you have any drama at work? What you just did right there.
That's a great open question. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. What you did right there is what the whole room does.
Mm-hmm.
They just, because it's, think about it. I mean, we're
it's
human
a constant,
beings.
Yes.
Yeah, we're human beings. You have drama in your household.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean you have a dysfunctional household. It just happens. And like I have drama right now because I told my kids stay off all this, stay off your phone, stay off the iPad, stay off the internet until I'm done with this. So we have a strong signal. So I have drama right now in the other room.
Right on.
You have drama. But see, drama is an indication that your team's not connected to meaningful goals. Because teams that have purpose and focus, they don't have time for drama. They're too focused on what they're trying to accomplish. So imagine if you sat down with your firefighters and said, this job isn't perfect, our bosses ain't perfect, our equipment's not perfect, but let's sit down and talk about why we exist, what our focus needs to be, and what we need to do to be the best that we can be, and focus on what we can focus on, because we got a choice. And I've said this to departments before. I said, do you guys, are you able to swap time? They say, yeah. Okay. So you could swap time. You have time. Do you get paid well? Yeah. All right. You got money. You think these jobs are secure in the fire service? Pretty much. So you have security. You got time, money, and security. Those are 3 primary reasons why people work. Here's another 3 primary reasons why people work. And there's only 6. You could fit any other reason into these 6 categories. Okay. You got time, money, security. Then you got recognition, to belong to a team and to make a difference. So I say to this one crew in particular out in Connecticut, I said, you have time, money, and security. Do you recognize each other when you do something good? Yeah. Do you feel like you belong to a team? Yes. Do you feel like you make a difference to your community? Yes. I go, okay. So you have the 6 primary reasons why people work. You have time, money, security, recognition to belong to a team, and you make a difference. Why are you so miserable? What else do you want? And I'm talking because when they bring me in to talk, these are one of these classes where I go in for 3 days of workshops to work with each group. I'm very direct with them. You can come to work and smile and be productive and love your job, which means you'll love your life too, because you'll spend so much time at your job. Or you could come to work miserable, talking about how bad everything is. And if you were to go to any other department in the country, they got the same problems you do. You just think you're the only one that has them. It's not the case. So I think we need to do, if we want to reach those fully developed or that growth stage to get to the fully developed, you need to stay away from the drama, stay away from the decay stage, because it will make you hate your job. And most of us have been there at one point or another in our career. You go through cycles like everybody else.
So is it strictly like the decay stage? Is it strictly attitude? Is it strictly perspective? Is it strictly losing perspective or losing priorities?
I think it's a lot of all of that.
Okay.
Attitude and effort, first of all, primary attitude and effort. If I come to work with the right attitude and give my best effort, that's got to be the foundation for everything. But then is it, yeah, man, are my priorities getting a little bit out of whack? I mean, would you agree with me that life is hard?
Oh, yeah.
All right, life's hard. Life is hard. And you have to sit back one time at some point and say, yeah, it's not going to be perfect. Bad things are going to happen. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm going to say things that are going to hurt people I love. And I'm going to try to rebound from that. And I don't know. And, this happens. I'm going to have bad luck. I might get passed over for a promotion. Sure. I might have somebody else try to cut my legs out from underneath me and destroy my career. You might work for a person who hates you. Life is not fair.
Yes.
Screw it. It's not going to be.
Right.
What can you do to enjoy the ride? There's a time where I was recently out in Mobile, Alabama, okay? And I went to, I think it was called Wenzel's. Somebody can correct me on that, but I went there. I had some great seafood. I was out at the Chiefs conference out there teaching. And as I'm walking through the streets alone, it's blistering hot. I wished my family was there, yes. And but at the same time, I actually mouthed these words. I said it out loud. I said, man, I love my life. I love my life. I love that I get to travel. I get to experience things. I love that I get to do what I love, which is what I'm doing right now, which is to try to help people. I love that I can write what I want when I want, and I don't have a boss to tell me, hey, you know what? We need you to write this right now. If you asked me, if you paid me to write a column for you, I'd probably turn you down at this point in my life, because I just want to write what I want to write. And if nobody wants it, that's fine. And so I like having those choices. I like the fact that I take the entire month of July off, because that's when my kids are playing in All-Stars, and I want to be there for every game and coach them and do my thing. So choices in life, but it took me a while to get here. I also went through those stages where I would go to work and say, I hate my life. Maybe I wouldn't say those words, but I'd be thinking it.
Right.
I hate my job. I hate my boss.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? Yes.
So you have to recondition yourself. You have to learn to turn it off. Corey, I never asked you this, but are you an overthinker?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. I live inside my brain. So, yes.
Yeah, right. Okay. See,
I lose so much sleep inside my own brain, but yes.
There you go. And that's me. I'll wake up at 2:00 in the morning and I'm stressing out over something that I will not be stressed out about once I wake up and get out of the bed. But lying in bed, I'm stressing out going, oh my God, why did I do this? Why did I say this? What am I going to do?
And the scenarios and yeah. Right. Oh yeah.
I'll sit up in my bed and I'll just be sitting there. I'm sitting up in my bed alone with the lights off. feeling nothing but stress and anxiety. And I have to learn, I train myself to change a channel. Just change that channel. Because that channel, I don't want to watch what's on it anymore. You know what? That channel abused me as a teenager. I had an inferiority complex. I needed other people's
validation.
Approval.
Yeah.
And
100%.
it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks when you need other people's approval.
So
you'll never get it.
No, 100%. I got 3 things I want to throw at you. And I'm trying to keep them straight in my brain. First one is, selfishly, what do you do in the middle of the night? Like, if I wake up at 4:00, it's just pretty much done, because I'll be locked in my brain thinking about all the things I want to think about. Then I'm like, might as well get up, get some coffee, and start doing the day, because I'm not going to sleep till 5:30 or 6 whenever I'm going to get up. Do you have, like, one of the things I do, I don't know where I learned it from. It was a meditation technique of some sort. It's where you imagine a candle flame, and then everything you think of, you put into the candle flame, right? And that helps when I can do it. Now, oftentimes
I kind of like that. That's very interesting. Somebody else taught me years ago. They said that they were taught to physically pluck it out of their head. That's why you saw me do this.
Right.
Pluck it out of your head and just throw it out.
Yes.
And I can tell you, I remember one time walking out of the mall one time, and I was stressing out over something work related. And I remember just going like this. Yeah. And I remember a couple walking in, and they looked at each other like, that dude's crazy. I remember it vividly. I thought, yeah, I probably did look crazy right there. But I had to get the thought out of my head. I don't have to do this anymore. Now I just kind of think that way. There's a couple things I do. And one is, it depends on what it is. I'm at the point where right now I just know that it's going to pass. But I keep a pad by my bed. Sometimes I'll take a couple notes, because I'm like, I have to get this out of my head. Otherwise, it'll stress me out. I'm downstairs in my office right now. My bed's upstairs. I keep my phone downstairs, because if I get on my phone, I'll start going through my phone. And here's what happens when you go through your phone. You know what happens when you go through your phone? You start seeing everything everybody wants you to see about their life. And you start to say, wow, my life sucks. This person's in Aruba right now, and this person's over here doing this. And this guy just got promoted. Oh, I'm happy for them. But, oh man, I'm stuck in a rut, because they don't show you all that part of their life. That's why when I teach, I'm very transparent about this kind of stuff, to let you know. I'll post pictures of how good. One time, Kurt Isaacson, I know he's just on your show. He thanked me for a post, and here was the post. I posted a picture of this reclining first class air seat on the airline that I had on my way back from California, saying, hey, check this out. This was my seat. But the very next picture, I also posted the cot I slept in at the airport, because my flight was canceled, next to 200 other cots that they laid right next to each other, with my bag tucked under me, holding my phone so I can wake up and catch the early flight. And I said, and I posted the picture of the first class ticket or seat. I said, this is what people want you to know about their life, but this is the reality.
That's the reality. Yeah.
And that's what they don't see.
Right.
They don't see, hey, people say, man, you got a good thing, man. You travel throughout the country, you speak. I do. And I've seen every airport and every hotel you can imagine. And that's where I spend most of my time. But I get to meet the firefighters and have dinner with the people that had brought me in and spend time at those seminars. That's the stuff I love doing. As you can see, I get very passionate about it.
Absolutely. No, that was the first question I had. Second one, and it goes to gratitude, man. Because this is a thing I wrestle with in my own brain, so I'm running it past you, just kind of like as we talk here. But if I can stay in a position of gratitude, man, it just completely keeps me out of. Is that because I'm wrestling with this, trying to wrap my head around? Is it strictly just if I can stay in a position of gratitude, that's the secret to life?
I think so. I heard somebody say years ago, and I agree with this, that what makes people happy is progress. Okay. So think about this, because I think it's connected with gratitude. If you're stagnant in any area of your life, it's hard to be happy if you're going in the wrong direction. My relationship's going down the tubes. My business is going down the tubes. My morale is going down the tubes. You're not happy.
Right.
But if you could take little steps to make progress in those areas, well, then all of a sudden you're like, hey, things are pretty good.
Right.
And that starts with gratitude. because making progress starts with me saying, hey, things are pretty good. Like I sit back and I think back and you may say, hey, you know what? Frank's a pretty successful author, and I know you got a book coming out. And so maybe you're sitting back, and we had a conversation. I'm saying maybe, but you and I had a conversation before we went live about this. But maybe you're sitting back saying, well, you know what? I need to do this or that a little bit better before I publish it, because I know that happens with me.
100%.
Right. But I sit here and I think, man, I put out 25 podcast episodes on Flash. By the way, that's how long Flashpoint has even been in my brain, the book, because Flashpoint was the name of our podcast.
Absolutely.
Because I named it Flashpoint because I knew the book was going to come out, and that was years ago. But I put out a few of them, and I'm like, man, I wish I did it like Corley was doing it. But here's the thing. You're not trying to be perfect. You're just doing it. You're getting guests that you want to speak to on, like I do. You're talking to them about things you want to talk about. You're letting them share their point of view on things. You're asking questions, and you're just doing it. So if anybody's jealous or if anybody's frustrated that they're not where you are, well, they need to put the work in that you're putting in. What is this, 151, your episode?
You're number 151, my brother.
151, okay? So somebody who did 12 podcast episodes cannot be frustrated if they're not where yours is.
Solid.
And somebody who has not written 3 articles, listen, I'm still writing articles. I got articles in these right here. Nice. I'm still writing articles all the time. That's how I stay sharp with writing books, because you're not always writing a book. But I got articles going out to 6 or 7 publications, and these are ones I don't get paid for. I'm just writing things I'm passionate about, sending to them. If they publish it, great. If they don't, that's great too. And you know, I just sent an article to a very big publication not too long ago, and I'm like, hey, here's something. If you want it, you can publish it. If not, it's cool. Just let me know. If you don't want it, I'm going to send it somewhere else.
Somewhere else, yeah. Please let me know. Yeah. All right, I want to throw this at you because I like this question. I just got to find it.
Okay.
This is how much I miss Kyle. Because this goes back to the stages, and I wanted to throw it at you.
Yeah.
Because it's not my question. Chris Wolf said, what happens if you feel your organization has not reached fully developed, but you're possibly in decay? What steps can we take to get back on track?
That's the most common thing that's going on out there. There's a lot of people in the decay stage, a lot of teams in a decay stage in today's economy and today's society. You know, people are frustrated with a lot of things. And the same 8 steps that you will take to get yourself out of the decay stage are the same 8 steps you take if you're in any other stage, to either get to fully developed or to stay there. So that's the beautiful part about the content in this book is when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, hey, man, if you're in a decay stage, so let's just talk about step 1. Okay. Step 1, set expectations up front, because every organization's culture is created by design or default.
Nice.
So if I don't sit down with my team and say, hey, you know, let's have a conversation. What do we want to be great at? What do we want to be known for? And let me set, as your chief officer or company officer, I'm going to set some expectations for you, for myself, and for all of us. And I want to hear what you think. This isn't a dictatorship. We're working together, man. And so you have to set some expectations, because without that, where are you going? It's like, I hate to use this analogy. It's been used over and over and over. But can you imagine getting your group in your car and saying, come on in, we're going for a road trip. Where are we going? I don't know.
Let's figure it out.
Need any money? I don't know. We'll figure it out when we get there. I mean, should I get some food? Do I need my wallet? Fishing gear? I don't know. You're going to be like, well, when you figure out where you're going, let me know. Take that analogy and bring that to your team. Yes, you're in a decay stage. You know why? You're filled with drama and no one knows where they're going.
Love it.
So it's that simple. But Corley, here's the thing. I love simple things. And you know how many people in a fire service get frustrated because they get disciplined for doing something they were never told they weren't supposed to do? Or for not doing something they were supposed to do, but no one ever told them they were supposed to do it. Because the expectations weren't set. You can't do this. You can do this. You need to do this. We never have these or they've never had these conversations with those people. And all of a sudden these people are saying, wait, but I didn't know I wasn't supposed to do this. Well, now you know. But what's happening a lot in today's world is people are getting harshly disciplined instead of sitting down and saying, well, let me explain to you why.
It really is the first you. Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Unaware, unable, unwilling.
Yes.
You're unaware. So now let me make you aware. And that goes right back to step up and lead. And
yeah. No, I love it, man.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about the principles is, like, I always say this, like Marcus Aurelius was sitting around a campfire with some Romans back in the day saying, hey, they didn't know, like you have to tell them. And it's not new. And you say it's simple, and it is simple, but simple never means it's easy.
No, simple. Yeah. Simple and right aren't always easy.
Yes. Ooh, I'd never heard the simple plus the right. I love that.
Yeah. Simple and right is what simple and right is it's simple and it's right, but it's not always easy.
Right.
Sometimes it is, and things happen, in life where what's right for you and what's right for your team may not be something that benefits certain people around you, but decisions have to be made all the time of who are we serving here? Like, just take the fire service, for example. Question number one is it right for the people that we're here to serve? Is it right for them? If it's not right for them, then don't go any further. That's step one. And then we move past that. Is it right for the organization? Is it right for this group? Is it right for me would be the last thing you say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's one. And on that note, because we were talking about the decay stage with that question,
yes.
I'll go into step two. Step two is prepare for victory. Now, in the book, I give examples. Now, the examples that I give are from Navy SEALs and Special Forces, are from professional athletes, are from business icons and fire service leadership experts and icons in our industry. And quite honestly, I even give examples from some of these young kids that I've been coaching all these years.
Absolutely.
There's a one kid that I've been coaching. When he was 7 years old, we had our very first practice. When our first practice ended, he walked up to me and he says, Coach, thank you. And shook my hand. 7 years old. I said, you're welcome. And then I watched him go to the other three coaches and do the same thing. I was so impressed with this, Corley, that the next practice I brought attention to this. And when you praise, heard me talking step up and lead, praise in public, right?
Yes.
Praise in public. I told all the kids how proud I was of him for doing that. To this day, all my kids thank all the coaches after every practice, because that 7-year-old is now still with me at the age of 11. He's about to turn 12. And so these kids that we're working with, and for the record, it's got nothing to do with winning baseball games. I could care less about it. If
it was, you wouldn't have the success you had.
Well, yeah, it has to do with winning in life.
Yes.
But that example right there, it was such a great example, and of just doing something nice and doing something right. And by the way, that goes with praise in public. If you're leading a team, somebody does something right, that shouldn't be a threat to you. Some people are oh no, this person did something good, I don't want to bring attention to this. You do want to bring attention to that, because that person's on your team, and if they're successful, that's going to help you become successful. And that's the ultimate goal. It's you could do everything right in the fire service and everything could still go wrong. So how about we celebrate when we do it right and it goes right? And so praise people for that. So 2 is prepare for victory, right? And so I tell these stories about people that have prepared for success. It's not, you set expectations, but now you got to put in the work. What do we need to do to get there? And that you have to create muscle memory. You have to do it to a point where people can achieve success. And we'll use the fireground as an example. You're going to achieve success in a fireground when it's cold, when it's hot, when it's raining, daytime, nighttime, high stress, when you're low in manpower, when you have equipment that's failing, when you have somebody that gets injured. You can get through all these things because you prepared enough. Like Sully landed that plane on the Hudson River. You prepared to the point where I didn't prepare for this, but I did prepare to function at a high level when things go wrong.
Yes.
Because if you don't, that's where struggles happen. I told my kids this at practice the other day. I said, you know what I want for you? I want you to be a team that everybody knows when they play you, they're in for a fight. Because no matter what happens in the first 4 or 5 innings, they know that you won't give up. And they know they're in for a fight. And I want to be a team that, and understand what I'm saying here, I want you to be a team that beats the other team from the inside out. What I mean by that is,
okay, yeah, I was going to ask.
I want them to know they can't beat you here. They can't beat you because you're too good, because you've practiced hard and you believe in yourself. Now, are you still going to lose games? Yes.
But they can't beat you.
Right. Same thing about the Fireground. Be that company that knows no matter what we encounter, we are tougher than the thing that's trying to hurt us. And it is trying to hurt you. And we're going to be the ones that put in that effort and put in and get the job done no matter what. And can things still go wrong? Yes. And they will still go wrong. But at the same time, if you prepare and you step into your arena, whatever it may be, ready for battle because you put the time in. You know, one of my buddies, he coaches a wrestling school, you know, and man, he's got a great program. Okay. And let me just tell you this. This is his motto. Believe in your preparation.
Nice.
I talk about this in the book. Believe in your preparation. His son, I used to go there and watch his son wrestle when he was about 15 years old. Okay. And he would tell his son all the time, believe in your preparation. His son went on to be a New Jersey state champion, a 2-time Big Ten Division I champion.
Nice.
Right now, I think he just won a world title somewhere. I don't even know what country he was in. He's going to be wrestling on the Olympic team. He didn't win the Division I national title, but he beat 2 returning national champions and was ranked number 1 in the country going in to the Division I national championship. And then COVID shut it down.
Right.
It happened a week before, and he never got that opportunity to win it that year. Placed 3rd, I think 2 years though. And this last year, he had a good chance of winning. The match before going in to the Big Tens, he took a knee injury that he had to have surgery on and still came back and placed 3rd in the country, all because he believed in his preparation. So his father's not just preaching this to everybody. His father's saying, you put in the work, you put in the time, and then when it's time to compete, let them worry about you because you're ready.
Yes.
And this is stuff I wish people told me when I was younger, because when I was younger, I was the one that worried about everybody else.
Yes, 100%.
You know, and that carried on when I'm a firefighter. I'm a firefighter thinking, man, hold on. You have water. You have the thing that puts fire out. Okay? You have the advantage. So don't think that thing has the advantage. It's dangerous, and it's a hell of an opponent. But if you train properly, you're ready for it. And that's what Prepare for Victory is all about.
Believe in your preparation.
Believe in your preparation. Yeah, I have a section in the book is titled just that, believe in your preparation.
I love that, man. Step 1, set expectations up front. Man, and you articulate it so well. Step 2, prepare for victory. Step 3, taking action.
Take action. And think about step 3, take action. I wrote this in the book. I was about a dozen pages into this section, and I didn't like it because I said, I'm saying way too much. Some of what I'm writing could go into Prepare for Victory section, and some could go into the 4th section. I'm writing too much. And I had a conversation with my wife about it, and then I sat back and I thought, what am I trying to say? And when you ever have writer's block, okay, this is what I suggest writers do. Shut it down, go away, go fishing, do something else, blast some music, drive, take as long as you need. I don't care if it's a week or 2 weeks. But at some point you have to say, what am I trying to say? And here's what I was trying to say. Go. You already set your expectations. You already prepared for victory. Now you have to take action and go, because you will learn more by doing than by continuing to prepare. You have to step in and compete. And so you have to take action. And so if you browse through that book and you get to that chapter 3, and I'll try to pull it up while I'm showing you right now, and you see chapter 3, that's it. Go. With a summary explaining what I just explained to you right now. So yes, don't think you're not getting your value for the book. If you, I'm buying a book with one word in it. Yeah. Hey, that chapter has one word in it, because I want you to understand the power of taking action.
Nice.
Because procrastination is a slayer of confidence.
Ooh. Is that yours? Is that your quote?
It is.
I need to add that. I need to put that on a nice picture of Frank Viscuso.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Here's the thing about quotes too. Like, sometimes you hear something like that. Procrastination to slayer confidence is something I'm like, I heard something similar to that. I don't know if I ever heard that.
Right.
But when you read, all the time.
Yeah, you don't have to qualify.
Yeah,
but yes.
It comes down to sometimes it's like, okay, Paul McCartney from the Beatles, Let It Be. He wrote the song, and he kept singing it for the other members of the Beatles, saying, just listen to this song. And he's playing it and singing it to him. And he kept saying, have you heard this before? And they're going, no, you've never heard this song before. The tune, the melody, some of the words, the lyrics, you've never heard any. And they're saying no, because he was convinced he heard it before.
Right.
But where he heard it was right there.
In his brain, yeah.
And maybe he had variations of that, and he kind of
so much influence.
Yeah, influence.
When you absorb, yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. So that's dangerous. Sometimes, like, there are times when I put something in the book, I'm like, I don't know if I've heard this before, and I'll Google it and I'll try to find out.
No, 100%, brother. I 100% understand where you're coming from, but I love that, man.
And there's other times that I'll say something flat out, and I'll see other people post it. I'm like, wait, that's from my book. Credit that. So if you know where it's from,
right,
credit it.
I love it. All right. Dale Emmerich said, wow, Frank, this is what I needed tonight. I love you, boss. So well articulated. That's a great term for you. You are well articulated.
Well, you know what? My parents, after I did my FDIC keynote speech, my father called me up and he said, where did you get this from? He goes, because I could hardly formulate a sentence. He jokes, and I don't know that I feel like I'm well articulated. I had a very limited education, because I had, I don't want to say I had attention deficit disorder, but I probably do.
Undiagnosed type, maybe.
I've never got diagnosed, because I'm a guy that I don't even care. I know my flaws, and here's my flaws. I have a very hard time concentrating, and because of that, I can forget things very easily. Okay.
Sure.
But I don't forget things that I do over and over and over and over and over again. And this kind of content I'm teaching over and over and over again. And I've just wrote the book, and I'm, so it's easier to articulate this. Sometimes when I have a discussion with somebody where they have a completely different point of view than me, I'm way better at articulating my point of view after we had the conversation, when I'm at home thinking about it.
Right. No, 100%. Dude, that speaks to my soul right there.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I'm like, I should have said.
Yes. That's so good after the fact.
And this is pretty cool to talk about. That's why I have these little notepads here, right? If I'm going to have a conversation with somebody about something that I really want to make my point, I write the points that I want to make down.
Nice.
And I prefer to have, and because we do so much of this kind of communicating, I prefer to have this conversation on the phone. Well, I'll do it in person too, but I prefer to have it on the phone or through Zoom or something, and I want to make sure I check off all those points during that conversation. I say what I mean to say, because it's easy to get caught up in and to get distracted and going down a different path instead of staying focused on where you want to get focused on. And think about that. Think about an incident commander who gets easily distracted.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I talked about when I talked about being an overthinker and dealing with stress or anxiety to a buddy of mine who's an attorney. He goes, man, he says to me, he goes, Frank, I live on stomach acid. I go, you? I mean, you're an attorney. He goes, yeah. I go, do other attorneys you work with notice? He goes, no. Do you think anybody would hire an attorney, that's nervous to speak in public? When you're actually starting to, I said, good point. I go, and do you think anybody would want a fire chief standing in front of their house that deals with anxiety? And we just laughed about it.
Right.
But see, now when you're doing what you do, you don't feel it.
Right.
Like doing jujitsu, you probably get more nervous before competing than when you're actually competing. Because when you're in battle, you're just thinking about what do I need to do,
and trying to breathe.
Yeah, and I don't want people. And I don't want people to. Let me try to prevent from getting choked out. I don't want people to think that I walk around, a bundle of nerves. I'm anxious all the time. It's not.
No, I get that. No, I don't. I don't get that at all. I got a couple to throw at you here because. I'm trying. If your department has been, I'm trying to find. I don't want to lose them. If your department has been in a prolonged stage of decay. In parentheses, guys seeming to crave drama, small job, 50 man. How long would you be a realistic time frame to get back to growth? There are a small growing number of us working on it, but we do get sucked into the drama ourselves sometimes. That's a very broad question, but I'm sure you get that question over and over again.
No, I understand. I understand the question pretty well. It depends on how committed you are to getting where you need to be.
Adam Melky. I wanted to Adam Melki, but yeah.
Adam, thanks for the question. It depends on how committed you are to getting where you want to go. Because here's the deal. I don't want to stay in the decay stage. As soon as I identify it, I'm dealing with it by having the right conversations with the right people about what we need to do to get where we need to go. If we have drama or conflict, I'm dealing with it immediately. Because if you don't, it's going to grow and it's going to eat your group up. I'm willing to have the hard conversations with people that are often necessary to lead during difficult times. Because if you shy away from that stuff, you're allowing the drama and the conflict to become the narrative. And I'm not going to allow that to become the narrative. The narrative is, why do we exist? John Sparrow, who left the message early on, when he talks about that, would you want you rescuing you, which fit to fight fire? What a great quote. Would you want you rescuing you? I've had that specific conversation with firefighters that worked on my group that were falling into that decay stage themselves and say, listen, man, we need the best you. If everyone you loved, your family right now, and you live an hour and a half away from where you're working, and if you had a fire in your house right now, God forbid, you had a fire in your house right now, would you want a company showing up being first due that they have your attitude?
Right.
About the job. That they're mad at this person, that person, and not concerned about being the best they can be. And he's like, no. Well, listen, your family deserves the absolute best crew possible to show up. And whoever calls you deserves the best too.
Absolutely. And that's
it, right?
No,
but these
100%.
Conversations have to be had. So if you're in that decay stage, and trust me, I know what it's like to be there for a long time, you have to say, you're not going to be able to fix everything. You're not going to be able to control everything, but focus on what you can. I want to give a shout out to, there's a Yamil Miranda, a firefighter that I worked with prior to retiring. And here's a guy that would come into work with a smile on his face every day. And I would see the smile on his face when he would walk in the door, and I would smile because smiles are contagious. And I thought, man, I could have learned a lot from this guy, because when I was a young firefighter, I didn't walk in with a smile on my face all the time. But here's a guy that was grateful and very thankful still is very grateful and thankful for the job. And I enjoyed that. So, you can influence people around you. I'm a deputy chief. He's a firefighter with a month on a job, and he's making my day better by just walking in the fire station with the right disposition, right? So how do you get out of the decay stage? man, you highlight the positive, squash the negative. And it sounds easier than it is. It takes work.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's not going to do itself. You have to make it happen. And I love the one part that he said, there's a few of us trying to make good. There's a few of you working on it and trying to make this happen. Keep working on it. Each one influence one. If you got 30 people that are saying, hey, we're going to make this job great. We're going to bring it back to where it needs to be. We're going to get people good. What if you get each one of you influence one? It's not as hard as you think. People want to be happy. Yes. They just forgot how to be happy.
And a really good part of what you said is there are a growing small number of us. And like Frank talked about, you're not alone. That's the good part. Because there are places where someone is alone and you're not. So that's a really strong point.
Yeah. And get them. Listen, have some of them listen to these kinds of podcasts. And it's something that you feel, got you motivated. And say, you know what? This helped me out. Let me direct somebody else to this so they can listen to it.
And pick up Flashpoint. I'll throw that out there.
Hey, listen, a funny thing about Flashpoint. Now, if you probably know this, anybody that purchases Flashpoint, send me an email. And I say with proof of purchase. You're firefighters. Just tell me you purchased a book. I'm going to trust you.
I love that. Yeah.
Okay. But send me an email. Just go to frankviscuso.com. You get my email address. Send me an email, say I purchased Flashpoint. Can I get the webinar? I will send you a link to view a free webinar that's 50 minutes long. I had a longer one out there and I cut it shorter. 50 minutes long, covering all the content in this book. You could not just watch it, you can share it with your team. And it, it's just a free webinar for anyone that purchased the book. And I don't mind you using it as a drill, so to speak, or a gathering with your team just to say, hey, let's get on the same page. If you find value there.
I love that, man. That's awesome. Okay. I always like to ask, Chief, book or books, and of course you've written 9, so you got a lot of books to suggest, but besides your books, do you have books that you think firefighters should be reading?
Firefighters should be, yes. Anything by Norman, anything by Turpak, anything by Dunn, anything by Avillo, anything by Castros. Yeah, there's a lot of books you should be reading.
That's a hefty list you just threw at them.
Yeah, I would honestly, because they're my publisher, I have to say this: go to Fire Engineering Books and Videos and just look at the list.
It's hard to knock, man. It really is hard to knock.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. Yeah, read Thompson's Scott Thompson's book. You talked about Gerard here earlier. He's going to be on your podcast, I guess, with his book. Read his book. Read. I mentioned Turpak's books. They've been my favorite to help educate me. I think Fire Officer's Handbook of Tactics is something everybody needs to read.
Everyone, yes. I don't care which edition. Start with like 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So the content's out there. Depends on what you want to learn. I mean, if it's talking about leadership, pick up something by Lasky. If you're talking about tactics, well, what tactics? Is it burning buildings? Pick up Dunn. It's all about what it is, where you are, and what you're trying to learn.
I love it, man. What do people say? Norman's book's always great in the middle of working with Giants now. I haven't read Giants yet, so I'm like 60 books behind on books I need to read, and there's so many books coming out. And again, I just get more books added to my plate.
I haven't read it yet either. I picked it up.
Okay, good. I don't feel as bad then. Thank you.
No, I picked it up. I had him sign it and everything. I'm like, I need to read this book.
Yes, absolutely. I've got like 3 copies of Tactics that are mine. I got 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition, and I got to get him to sign them at some point. Yeah. And right now I sign them out. People can come into my office and sign a book out, and they get to leave with it. Those are always checked out.
That's cool.
All right, Chief. We got the next 5 questions for firefighters. You've been here before. You got the first 5 questions for firefighters, but after like 100 episodes, we switched it up, and it's now the next 5 questions for firefighters. So, Chief Frank Viscuso, are you ready for the next 5 questions for firefighters?
I don't know. I hope so. Let's go with it. I believe I am.
We will see. Here's the deal. The questions are completely arbitrary. The answers are your opinions, and the points are passed out by me with hopefully the help of the audience to say whether it's max points or not. So, number 1, what single characteristic makes the difference between a run-of-the-mill firefighter and the top-tier, go-to, badass firefighter?
Oh, so here's an interesting answer. And by the way, I don't know any of these questions that are coming at me right now. So I'm just going to tell you
This is blind. This is blind.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to have to go with 2 for a reason. Not just a single characteristic, because I combine these 2. And if I could figure out a word to make these 2 one, I'm going to coin it myself. But it's grit and humility. Grit and humility. So yes, you want to talk badass? Let's talk about grit. You have to be willing to persevere. You have to be willing to fight, because at some point in a fight, technique gives way to heart determination. Okay, that's one of the things I talk about in the book. But be humble enough to know that you've never arrived, that you're going to have to rely on the people around you, and you have to continue to work to get better. So if I could figure out one word to combine grit and humility, those are the ones I go with. And I apologize for not just saying one word, but the 2 of them, I've thought a lot about this.
Yeah.
A question similar to this, like, what's that one quality I want? And I'd say grit, grit, grit. But you know what? There's a lot of people with grit that are assholes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say it.
No,
I don't like
truth.
to curse, but I just need to say it. But what if you had grit and you were humble about it? And that's a powerful combination, in my opinion.
Bro, I absolutely love that answer. And usually I get mad when people go with 2. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you're supposed to pick 1. But here's the deal. Like, I try to roll like 5 times a week, but with on session. But at the jiu-jitsu, I can't think of anything better than grit when you're on the mat, and then combined with I don't know everything. If you can't learn what you think you already know.
Well, Corley, you know that. I mean, I think a lot of a few of my friends are UFC fighters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, Frankie Edgar, a very good friend of mine. I speak quite often to Corey Anderson, and one time here I am with 1 world champion and 5 guys that are ranked top 5 in the world in their weight classes, and their trainer. And I'm at a party, and I'm the only non-fighter sitting at the table, thinking I feel like the safest guy in the world and the biggest wimp in the world at the same time. But I talked to a couple of them, and I said, "Let me ask you a question. How do you guys stay so humble? Because all of you are ranked top 5 in the world in fighting." I mean, think about it. They lock themselves in a cage and fight another human being. Right. Top 5 in the world, but you're all so humble. Like, I've sat down with other people that are professional athletes, but maybe not the pinnacle of success, and they're very arrogant. Some of them. And the answer that, not in these exact words, but the answer that came back to me was, it's easy to remain humble when you get choked out at practice and knocked out in front of millions of people. Because think about this. And again, I talk about this in the book. When I wrote this book, there was, I think, 12 or 14 men and women UFC champions for different categories, different weights, men and women. But only one, Habib, was undefeated. Every other one of them have lost 1 or more bouts. Yet they still continue to fight. I remember when I was growing up in boxing, if you lost in boxing, your value was decreased dramatically. You lose in UFC, it happens all the time, or MMA in general. You just bounce back.
Yes.
So I think we took a left turn there, and I apologize. But
I will tell you this. Here's the response. Aaron Hashalder said, "I like that." Nate Miller said, "Love that." Eddie Castillo said, "Yes, I agree. There is always work to do." I like this one. Aaron Hashider said, "Grithability." I'm not quite sure. Grithability. So I got to throw it at you. But then it came. Joey Hayes, Eddie Castillo, both said max points. And that's my point, man. That was a max points answer if I've ever heard one. I
appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
No, without a doubt, brother. When you can combine humility with, I don't know what, grit is just a great word for it. Toughness, willpower, drive.
When you were introducing me and people were making comments and a couple people say, Frank's very humble. to me, that's a way bigger compliment than, hey, Frank's a great author. I don't think I'm a great author, by the way. I truly, truly do not think I'm a very good writer. But I don't care. I'm more concerned with the message than delivering it perfectly. So if I didn't write the way that a great writer would write, I'm okay with that. Did the message mean something to you? If the answer is yes, that's more important to me.
Right.
But
your humility shines through, brother. Your humility. But I want to tell this story real quick because I got this story. I love this story because you know what I'm talking about when it has the not for resale across the front. You order your copy to see how it's going to go. I ordered this one, Flashpoint, and it came in, and then I ordered my own book that I wrote, and I got it, and literally this one gave me an inferiority complex.
Yeah.
So I want you to know that when you say I'm not a great writer, no. 100%. I am like overhauling my book, and I mean this in a completely complimentary. Like, hopefully you take it that way. You made me realize my book's not ready. It needs more work, and it was a gut check, good way.
I want you to think about step 3, take action.
Take action. Okay.
Yeah, because it does. If you want, I remember Robert Kiyosaki one time in an interview. He said people criticize him for not being a good writer, but he had 2 number 1 bestsellers at the time, or he had just had a second, and he goes, I'm not trying to be a great writer. And for him, his answer was, I'm just trying to sell books. Well, good. That's his goal. And he sold a lot of them. I'm trying to pass on a message that I'm passionate about, that I think can help people. And if you actually look at my reviews on Amazon for Step Up and Lead, there's something like 75 reviews there for the book. And a lot of them are really good. I mean, when I read them, I'm like, wow. I mean, they say really kind things.
Right.
But there's a couple of them there that cut like a knife. They're not people that are being critical. They're people who are like trying to really take a jab. Or
to eviscerate.
One guy writes in capital letters, horrible, and goes on to talk about how this book is just terrible. Now, there's a part of me that's hurt by that, but then there's another part of me that says there's a couple things with this. I have over 200 emails, probably closer to 300, of thank you letters from people.
Nice.
That say thank you. You helped me get promoted. Corley, Lan, this is going to be painful. But I had a firefighter, a brother, just leave me a message just last week thanking me because he said, because of you, I've told my son all the time how proud I was of him. But he sent me his son's obituary because he just passed away. And I just thought, that's what I mean. Life is hard.
Yeah.
It's not fair. But if we can maximize these moments with the people we love and the people we care about, and know that if things go bad, that, man, you know what, but at least I have this to hold on to. At least I know I told them I love them. I know that, when things go bad, we worked hard to try to make it go right, and it just didn't work out.
Right.
Right now, I'm not going to articulate any of what I'm saying very well because I'm thinking about that letter. But that stuff to me is 1,000 times more important when a person says, I lost something, but when I had it, what I learned from you helped me do it right.
Yeah.
I'll take 100
horribles, all cap horribles.
One of them.
Yeah.
Right?
No, 1,000%. No.
But, when I think about that, though, I think about this. Like, here's a book. Step Up and Lead's an interesting book. I have to get off the topic because I need to change that channel right now.
Yeah.
It's an interesting book because it's on a lot of promotional lists, which I never anticipated it to be. So people are told you have to buy it because it's part of your required.
Yeah, if you want to advance in your career.
Right. So this guy probably was told, hey, you need to buy this book, and he bought it and hated the fact that he had to buy it because he disagreed with something, or he might have disagreed with it before he even opened it, is my point. I don't know that. But I know me. If I don't like something, I'm not the guy that's going to go on, leave a terrible review for a person. But if I can have a conversation with a person, I'd rather have that. And my information is so accessible. If somebody wants to smear me on social media or anywhere else, I do find it a little comical right now because you can go to frankviscuso.com and my cell phone is on that front page. Just call me. Seriously, call me. You can call me and tell me I'm a jerk. I'm okay with that.
I do it like once a week.
Yeah.
Frank doesn't know it's me, but I do it.
That's you? No, but really, seriously, I mean, if I'm saying something that you find highly offensive, somebody did this to me one time. I posted a video on Step Up and Lead, and a guy found it to be offensive. And after I read why he felt it was offensive, I thought, and it wasn't something I was saying on a video, it was a video I was posting of someone else. But I said, man, seeing it from his point of view, I could understand why it's offensive. And he knew I didn't mean it that way. He said that, hey, I know you didn't mean it this way, but. And I took it down and I left him a message. I said, I never looked at it that way. Thank you for opening up my eyes. I took the video down and I apologize, if I offended you. And he said, no, man, I didn't even mean, you didn't really need to take it down. I just need you to understand. I said, no, this is good. It's good, man. I'm not perfect. Make a lot of mistakes. Even Corley, you'll know this. You're going to write something in your book that 2 years from now, you're going to wish you didn't write.
Right.
I got that. And Step Up and Lead, I got some things I wished I didn't write. I still agree with it. I would just write it differently.
Right. No, I understand that. I really do.
Yeah. So anyway, I think we only got to one of these 5 questions, right?
We're still on question 1. I'm getting ready to ask you question 2, and you got max points on question 1.
We'll knock them out. We'll knock them out real quick now.
Okay. Number 2. If you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice as a rookie, what would it be?
Do more than expected. As a rookie, I was a person who, in my life, I did everything anyone ever told me to do. My teachers, my coaches, and my parents. But what I didn't do was more than what I was told to do. And so I came into this job and I did the minimum. The minimum was not a bad thing. Everyone was doing the minimum.
Right.
With the exception of a few. But I'm doing the minimum. And had I known then what I know now, I would have done more. I would have trained more. I would have read more. I would have taken that equipment out and learned it better, got my hands dirty, going on, to more classes. I would have done more than expected, not just what I'm told to do. That would be my answer.
I love it. And the reason I love it is it goes right back to step 1, which is set expectations. Which is do more than expected, man.
More than expected.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I really do. Max points on number 2. What is your favorite training drill?
It's funny you say that because what I love doing, I don't know if I'd say it's a specific drill. There's a couple things that I like doing real-time drills. So I don't know if I could say it's a specific drill. It's specific type of drill.
Okay.
Real-time drills that I talk about in my books are adding urgency to the drill.
I love that.
So we would do real-time drills, but we would do, and this is the second type of thing that I like, combining these two things, getting multiple companies working together. So we're getting a water supply. We're advancing 2 lines because the second company's coming in and actually taking the second line off that apparatus. We're simulating forcing entry. We're doing a search and rescue with the ladder company. So I got lines being advanced by 2 companies, an incident commander, We have the ladder company forcing entry and doing a primary search and rescue. And I got 3 companies working, and we're timing ourselves in certain disciplines.
Nice.
How long does it take us to do these things? And recording it, videotaping it. And sometimes we would bring the videotape in and watch some of what we're doing, watch the hose line being deployed, watch the connection being made, watch the firefighters conducting the search. I would take the thermal imaging camera, take my phone and record what I'm seeing on a thermal imaging camera. And then I would show the firefighters, this is what you did. This is where you got caught up. This is what happened. And when you combine that, real-time drills, to me, was just the sense of saying, you're doing it all the time, but what if you do it with that sense of urgency that you're going to have in the real world? This is how I train even with the baseball players. I just conducted a drill for another team the other day. A guy said, I was on one field throwing baseballs to my son, and the coach on the other field is coaching my other son. And he says, hey, can you come over and throw BP for us? I said, I could. I said, but before I do that, can I run them through an infield drill I've wanted to do with this group? He says, yeah. I run them through the specific infield drill, and I don't want to get into it now, but I run them. Plus, I don't want to give away my secrets because I think it's the secret why we win so many championships.
Fair.
But when I did this drill, one of the dads left me a message that night and said, that drill was amazing. You covered everybody throwing at every base. It was high paced, a lot of reps. You added urgency to it, like there's going to be in the real world. And I said, my team on Sunday, 11-year-old kids on Sunday, pulled 4 double plays because of that drill.
Right.
That's the way I like to train in a fire service. You add urgency and you time it, and then you get multiple companies working together. So it's not one specific drill. It's just the way you train.
That's the easiest max. I give out max points like they're candy, but that's the easiest max points I've ever given out, man. Urgency. No, 100%, brother. Urgency and multi-company and setting expectations. Number 4, what mistake have you learned the most from in your fire service career?
Mistake that I've made. Right? That's what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The question is, what mistake?
Okay. I think I know the answer already. I'm just trying to think, will this one get max points? I'm kidding. No, because my mistake was my knee-jerk reaction. See, what I did in life, being brought up in Hudson County, New Jersey, if somebody has a problem with you, they just tell you they have a problem with you. Nobody's trying to be, nobody's dancing around any issues.
Right.
They're just flat out telling. That's just the way it is up in Hudson County, New Jersey. And you can be at odds with somebody for quite some time. And sometimes when you're a kid, even you got to fight. You just got to fight. And when you're done fighting, it's over. When you're an adult, it doesn't come to the fight. Sometimes it still does, but it doesn't go to the fight. It goes to somebody has a problem with you. They tell you have a problem, and that's it. When I started moving through the ranks in the fire service, I still had that knee-jerk reaction where if somebody said something or did something, my initial response would be the wrong response. And so if I could say my biggest mistake, it was responding without taking a moment to sit back and thinking, what's the best way I can respond to this when I did have the time to think.
Right.
On a fire ground, I don't have time to think.
You just 100%. There's massive difference between emergency and otherwise.
Yeah. And so I found myself in that situation a couple of times where I sat back and said, that was stupid. That was stupid. And it happens to me even as an adult where somebody would say, hey, I heard somebody said this about you or this. And I what? Pick up the phone. Hey, man, I don't do that. Now you know what I do? I take a minimum 24 hours. I sleep on it. And I say, all right, I know how I feel right now, and I'm pretty aggravated. I know what I want to say. I know what I would say if they were in front of me right now. But I also know that's how I've lost good relationships in the past. That's how I've lost the ability to work with certain people. I mean, I just watched Will Smith's apology that just came out today, that he just posted on social media today, from the slap from 3 months ago, right? His knee-jerk reaction has caused a lot of trouble for him. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's a guy that dealt with a situation a very bad way. But at the same time, I've had those scenarios before. And if you take time and you think about it, you make a better decision. I wish I did more of that when I was younger, as a firefighter and just as a human being.
I can't. I wish I could not give you max points, but I have to give you max points when you talk about knee-jerk reactions and just slowing down and being patient and being effective. Marco Asom said, Chief, we need you to come and work with the Detroit Tigers. They've been saying it's a rebuilding year for the last 7 years. So I don't know.
Well, they're doing better than the Giants, because the New York Giants are on their 11th rebuilding year.
I love it. Okay, final question. And it's always the same one. There's never been a new one here. Number 5, heavy fire, searchable space. Would you rather be assigned to the nozzle or first in on VES?
That's a great question. And I think I answered this. The U.S. is the first time, right?
Yeah, this question did not change. So,
well, I'm pretty sure I answered the same way. I've been on an engine company the majority of my life, so I think that's where I would be the most comfortable, with that hose, putting that thing out. And I know that's not the glory job. And here's some interesting things. So this is a good topic to talk about. Now, I was on the job for many years. We did search drills all the time, okay? And it was always at the same, put some wax paper in your mask. One goes right, one goes left, find a mannequin, rescue the mannequin. Right. All the time.
Yes. You just described the majority of my training drills, but go ahead.
Well, there you go. Now, what we didn't do, and I'm talking about probably the first 10 years in my career, I never had, the first 10 years, an officer do a VES drill with us. Never did we climb in a window, go into the building, search, and then exit. So, and it's not like we didn't do VES. You think about it, we were training a lot. We were doing stuff all the time, but for some reason we didn't do that drill. So VES wasn't something we even really, for me, it was always interior. You're going in through the inside, and that's how you're going to get to the room.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until, hey, now I'm an officer, and I'm like, we need to do drills on this specifically because I didn't do enough of this. So I remember, I remember going online, and I found these great videos from Fire Engineering's video clips from officers out in Indianapolis, Indiana, that were doing these great VES drills, and I snagged them all. And I stuck them in a PowerPoint because they're on YouTube anyway. And I would do these drills on traditional search, vent-enter search, and oriented search. And we would talk about common tools, common hiding places, everything to do with search and rescue. Add urgency to our drill by timing it. Everything we just talked about, it was great. But to go back to that question, it's not going to be the popular answer for a lot of people. Give me the hose line. It's what I'm more familiar with. And I feel I'd be more effective. Dude,
I love the answer. No matter what. There's no right answer.
Don't give me a max for that, though. Just say that was an okay one.
No, I will 100% give you what I think you deserve. What I love is the fact that you recognize that that's not something we did. And then you went out and found stuff from fire engineering. You went out and found stuff from FDIC. You went out and found stuff that was not in your wheelhouse. You still owned the fact that you want the knob because that's what you're comfortable with, man. So I'll 100% give you max points.
Well, Corley, I'll tell you this. See, when we used to do PIAs, when I was a firefighter, they do it on, and rightfully so, there wasn't many options, but they would do it on a chalkboard. And they would take, they would kind of draw the outline of the building, placement of the apparatus, and we would talk about it. My PIAs, I was doing it on PowerPoint. And I was taking videos that people were posting on YouTube.
Nice.
Putting clips, photos that people were taking, post on Facebook. I would snag them and good and bad things that we can talk about. And I put these things together, and then I would go around the room and have each officer say, well, what was your assignment? What went well? What could you have done better? And who outside this room needs to know? And then when we were done, if the fire was a basement fire that we're doing a PIA on, then I did a class for 30 minutes on basement fires,
Nice.
covering not just what we went through, but everything we didn't
Everything
talk about.
else, yes.
So I would spend my 3 days off after the fire doing all this research to put this PowerPoint together. So when I came in, they're going to leave that PIA way better than when they came in. And all because new firefighters, new officers, new drivers, new deputy chief, that fire is going to help us become better at those fires and any fire, but those specific fires. So I did that for a taxpayer one time. I did that for basement fire. I did it for multiple different types of fires. And that was me just wanting to be a better version of me.
Right. And you understand, I maybe you probably don't, because a lot of people don't. You understand that makes you the exception to the rule.
I don't know. I remember George Harris, who's a captain, still on a job right now. I remember him saying to a new firefighter, he says, enjoy this, because not everybody does what you're about to see, and gives this type of class after a PIA. And I took that as a great compliment.
100%.
But I'm sure, listen, there's other people I'm sure that hated him, because people, some firefighters like to complain, oh, we're going in for a class.
Here's a PIA. Here's a PIA. It's a checkbox. So, we did it. Yeah, we did it. We're done. And this is my point. And I really want to make this very clear. Is because it's taken me. This is something I realized over time. This is me saying good job to my deaf dog, by the way. Good job, buddy.
Oh, cool.
But is that it's not about max points. It's not about the person answering the question. It's not about the questions themselves. It's really not about the content of your question. It's about the person answering the question and their approach to the job. And that's finally what I figured out over time. And you really get a sense of knowing them after an hour of talking to them or whatever. And then they start answering the 5 questions. And the humility plays into it, because we talked about humility earlier. And I really am the luckiest person in the fire service to interview some of the most amazing people in the fire service. So it's a biased, if I ask these questions from the top to the bottom, it'd be a different story. But I asked the cream of the crop these questions. So max points is almost an expectation.
Right. I hear you. I understand completely.
So my point, and I hope it's coming across clear when I say this, people don't do that you did on a PIA as a general rule, man, across this country. And so the fact that you did that and then made those points, I don't care if you took the knob or you said, I'm going on a targeted search. You got max points, my brother.
Well, I appreciate that. But the other thing is, I liked doing it. I felt like, hey, this is going to be something this is going to help all of us. And, if it wasn't me even thinking, whoever doesn't do this is doing it wrong.
Right.
It was not that. It was me saying, I'm going to give them more than expected. Like we talked about earlier, I should have done more than expected. I feel like, and this is the truth, I feel like I made up for it in my second half of my career. I made up for it by doing way more than I needed to do in my job. It was no longer the bare minimum. It was, I'm going to do the maximum that I possibly can. And I'm still in that mode. I'm in that mode where, what can I do to make things better? What can I do to make the fire service better? What can I do to make my job better? And what can I do to help make people's careers better? And that's the focus, man. Because if you could do that, I mean, that's a great thing. Think about this. And you're doing this with your podcast. You're going to do it with your books. You do it with your teaching. But if you can add value to somebody's life, is there a better thing you could possibly do?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make more money. I think that, so what? I mean, if I don't maximize my earning potential, but I have helped thousands of people improve their personal or their professional lives, that's a good trade-off. That's a good trade-off, because you can't take the money with you when you're gone.
Right on.
But you can leave some kind of a legacy that you made a difference to other people. I just had I posted something just recently on social media, and I can't, matter of fact, I could pull it up.
Do it.
Real quick. It probably take me a moment to find it. Here it is. But I posted this. Your value doesn't decrease based on somebody's inability to see your worth. And then I received a text from a gentleman I know who's now the chief of a department. And he wrote, "Thank you for posting this. I needed to share this with my son today. Hope you and your family are well. Stay safe."
Wow.
And that's the stuff.
Yes.
When you get that message, man, this is, and I get this all the time on Step Up and Lead on Facebook. I needed this message today.
Yes, dude. I've told so many people, I'm like, dude, you just made my week. You just made my month. They'll say, hey, thank you for what you do, or thank you for writing Step Up and Lead. This made me feel like I was not alone, or I read your book and now I'm reignited. Yeah. I know you get that message all the time, and it's just so invigorating. And it's so humbling.
And what's neat about it is now you don't crave that anymore. A friend of mine told me this, who he just retired out in Connecticut too, Jim Duffy. And we were talking about how when some people retire, they kind of go and it's kind of a little depressing. It's sad. They maybe don't get what they need in retirement. And we were just talking about this he says, you know what though? He says, they're not doing the type of stuff we're doing where you're out there still teaching and making a difference. And so we don't need to hear, thank you, good job. We don't need a pat on the back, because you kind of get that anyway, even though that's not what you're seeking. Like everywhere I go, people still call me chief. So I'm going to imagine it's going to happen for the next 15 years. Even though I'll be out of the fire service 15 years, went back, 12 years from now, and so, but I think they'll probably still say it. So I don't have that need of validation. And that's a comfortable place to be in life, because you feel like, okay, I have made a difference. I just want to focus on this person I'm talking to. I want to focus on helping them get where maybe I can help get them. And we all fall into this thing now where we start saying, oh, it's about me.
Yeah.
Let me focus on, right? We get there. I have to fight it. I have to fight it. It's about, I need this to be a bestseller.
Yeah.
No, here's the deal. Like,
you start believing your own press almost. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah, man. I had a buddy years ago that said, never believe in your own press.
Yeah.
You're never as good as people say you are, and you're never as bad.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, I usually say, there it is. We really rambled all over the next 5 questions for firefighters, but I can say unequivocally that was max points across the board, and everybody in the chat agreed. So it's not just my soft-heartedness giving free points away, which I'm accused of often. Brother, you killed it. I 100% mean that.
Oh, I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Well, and you have Rick George coming on, right?
No, yeah, Monday.
Yeah, so check this out, man. So Rick George, man, I love that guy. Yeah.
I've never met anybody who doesn't love that guy. Like, hey, I bumped into him at FDIC because I had him on the scrap way early, and then I bumped into him like, hey, get a picture right here, and Rick said, I'll take the picture. And when I got my phone back, I had like 5 selfies that he took of him smiling.
Oh, that's him,
dude, 100%. It was awesome.
That's him. No,
I still got him.
So Rick George is a guy who we connected at FDIC too. We had dinner one night and talked about things that didn't have to do with the fire service, but had to do with way more. Maybe he'll tell you about them, but way more personal things. And I helped him through a situation that he was kind of struggling with. That Frank Ritchie helped me through the same situation about 3 years earlier at FDIC.
Oh wow!
And that's something that I think is really cool, man. Because like, and I brought up FDIC a couple of times because that's where that's where the bulk of all these instructors, where we all spend a lot of time together.
Sure.
But Rick is a guy that I would never want to meet in a fight, but I'd love to have him by my side if we ever fought. But he's a guy that'll hug you, man. He's a straight up wonderful guy with the biggest heart ever, and very passionate about his point of view. And his point of view is a very good one. So I think your guests are in for a treat with him. And tell him I said hello.
I will do so. 100%. Count on it. And that makes it officially 151 scraps in the books, which every episode now breaks the odds at Vegas that this thing's still going. So, Frank Viscuso, thank you, my brother, for giving me your Friday night, especially with you got a big deal tournament coming up tomorrow. Yeah?
What's interesting is, I just texted my wife just a moment ago. You might have heard my phone turning on saying, please send the boys down. And she said they're both sleeping.
Good.
Because I was going to bring them down and introduce you to them real quick. I like to do that. Nick even said to me, he goes, Dad, do you want me to come in on this one too? Because every time I'm teaching a class,
sure,
I say, if you guys, need to come in, come in and say hi. They usually come in and just say, Dad, can we turn on our iPads yet?
Right.
But when they come in, I say, no, I still need time. But I wave them over and I introduce them to everybody, just because I want everybody to know, like, I think this is worth spending a moment talking about as we wrap up. I got a green screen behind me, okay? And I got the green screen because I'm in my office and I'm actually facing my wall with, helmets and plaques and all that fun stuff. But behind this green screen is also my kids' play area. And they don't really sit here and play anymore, but they would. So when I'm writing my books, or if I was doing a podcast or something, a lot of times they're right here playing with a fire engine or with their blocks or whatever. There was a time when I would be like, hey, kids, I need you to go in the other room and just shut up for the next 2 hours. Not in those words, but
right. No, 100% that mentality.
Right? I started saying, hey, just keep it down, but I want you to be near me.
Nice.
So, and I think I want to really make this point with your listeners. Chase your goals. Go after your dreams. In and out of the fire service. They are achievable because I don't believe that God would put them in your mind and in your heart if they were not.
Yes.
They're achievable. But at the same time, remember why you're doing it. Because everything I do, outside of trying to reach people and help improve their lives and give them value, what I do is also trying to bring honor and value to my family.
Right on.
And if you could find a way to combine them, Corley, if you haven't done this yet, man, I've done this. I was speaking out in Ocean City, Maryland. And so I brought my family down for a couple days vacation. I said, listen, I told my wife at about 11:30, I want you to bring the boys into the room. Now there's about 300 or 400 people in the room. I said, at 11:30, I'm speaking, but I want you to bring them in the room. And she said, when you're speaking? I said, when I'm speaking. For 2 reasons. Number one, I want them to see what Daddy does.
Right.
Okay. I want them to see, okay, my dad doesn't just work in his office at home. This is when he gets on a plane, this is what he goes and does. But number 2, I want to introduce them to everybody.
Yes.
And when I introduce my children to people, I don't just say, this is my son, Nicholas, or this is my son, Frankie. I'll say, or Thomas, I'll say, this is Frankie. Let me tell you something I love about Frankie. Frankie understands that nothing in life is easy, and anything he wants to accomplish in life is going to take hard work and dedication, and he puts that work in. And one of the things I love about him, he's not afraid of hard work. So here's a kid that if he ever competes against someone who's naturally more talented, he'll be prepared to compete against them because he works harder. That's how I introduce him. And then I'll have a way that I'll introduce each of my kids, because I believe people rise or fall to meet your level of expectations for them. So now this is what happens when we're out hitting a bucket of baseballs, because that's the way I introduce Frankie. He's usually the one to say, Dad, can we hit a second bucket when we're done? Because he wants to outwork the other people.
Absolutely.
Even his own brother. And I learned from doing that. I'm like, what if, and I started doing this, what if I told my firefighters what I think about them? I love how passionate you are about the job. I love how you spend so much time learning more. I love how you run drills. I really like the way that you perform on the fire ground. You're going to get more of that.
Oh, wow.
You're going to get more of that. but only when you recognize it. Too many people don't say nice things about people's performance when they perform at a high level. If you're leading a team, you're making a huge mistake. By the way, this is number 8 on my list. If you want the other ones in between 3 and 8, buy the book. But this is number 8. Reward your team. Reward your team, because the people who work the hardest are often those who feel the most appreciated. On that note, Corley, I think I spent
then you crushed it, man. 100%. So much value here. If you didn't find value, if someone wants to get a hold of you, best place to buy your book, everything, go.
Simply, I mean, you want to get a hold of me, it all starts with frankviscuso.com, which is also commonvalor.com, one of my books. It all takes you to the same place. And it's, you see all my books there, my classes, my cell phone number's there, my email address is there. And a link to every book that I've published is there. If you do want Flashpoint, the only place to get it is through Amazon. It's on Kindle and it's in paperback and it's priced, pretty well. And anyone, I'll repeat this again, anyone that buys it, send me an email and I will immediately, and I mean, if I can, within 10 minutes, reply to you with a link so you could watch the 15-minute webinar as well and share that with your team if you like.
Nice.
And trust me, I really appreciate you giving me this opportunity to talk with everybody and share some of my ideas and thoughts. And man, I love talking with you. I would have these conversations with you with nobody listening every day if we could.
Dude, I appreciate your friendship. And again, I am the luckiest guy in the fire service because of what this platform has allowed me. The connection I've been allowed to make and call people friends that I wouldn't have met otherwise. And so I again, meeting you in Indianapolis, because there's people that you like make a connection with, and then you, whatever you call it, the pseudo social connection.
Yeah.
And then you actually get to meet them, and they're just as genuine as who they appear to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, man. And I think that we're a different breed here in the fire service. People are very transparent. You listen to Chief Ike, Kurt Isaacson. I consider him a great friend. I really do, man. And he is what he is. The one you get on the podcast is the one you get.
Oh yeah,
everywhere. And I like to think that's the same about me. But all these people I mentioned earlier, man, they are what they are. And yes, here's the we're all flawed. We can all be better.
Yes.
We all make mistakes. We've all had great relationships with people we work with. We've all had very bad relationships with some people we work with that we had to figure out how to make it or try to make it a great one. We're all in the same boat, man. But here's what's beautiful about what you're doing. You're allowing people to listen to people who have figured things out. And I've said this over and over and over again, man. Experience is not the best teacher in our industry. Other people's experience is.
Love that.
Other people's experience. Because we've had too many people come before us, make mistakes or do things right for us not to learn from it. So thank you for providing this platform for all of us.
Thank you for sharing your Friday evening and your passion, brother. All right, I'm going to finish up here with, let me see, firehousevigilance.com. Go there. If you want to be a part of the Vigilantes, it's live. 100%. The second forum is Sunday, so get signed up if you want to be a part of the second forum. We're going to be discussing electrical vehicle fires and Jared Sergi's book, No Nonsense Leadership, and whatever else comes up, because it's just, I don't even know what it is yet. It's the second forum. We've only had one, and it's a lot of fun. So that's the Vigilantes. Go to firehousevigilance.com if you want to know about it. Next stop for me, Into the Job, Wichita, Kansas, Firefighter Symposium. I'm going to be there. If you're going to be there, yell at me. Let's get some Mutts Don't Scrap pictures, because I do not get enough of them, and I will not ask for them because I'm actually an introvert and I won't bother people for pictures. But if you say, hey, can we get a picture, Chief? I'm all in. So let's do it. After that, Water on the Fire down in Pensacola. I am super excited. Pretty excited to be there. And check this out. The killer lineup continues, because this is the summer of 2022. It kicked off. It's like Isaacson, Viscuso, Rick George. How's that for the starting batting lineup? You know what I'm saying? 1, 2, 3 out of the hole. Going into Kyle Romagus, Mark Von Oppen, Devin Craig, Mike Dugan, Robbie Townsend, Dina Ali, Chad Butzine, and Bill Gustin. How's that for
check this out, Corley. I went out to Menlo Park, California, and I spoke for 6 days out there. I got together and had dinner at the firehouse with Mark Von Oppen.
I love it.
So a call comes in. He says, "You want to ride with us?" I'm like, "Sure." So here I am riding on a call with Mark Von Oppen in California. And I said to him, "Who would think Frank Viscuso and Mark Von Oppen are actually riding on a call together, out in California?" It was a lot of fun, man.
That is awesome. What kind of story do those people have to tell? And the crazy part is, Von Oppen came to Moore, and we were setting up. He was going to teach his class, fully involved in Moore, and a fire alarm dropped, and he was by himself. So he said, "Can I come?" I'm like, "Yeah, jump in the rig." And so again, it was an automatic fire alarm, so it ended up being nothing. But he rode to a call in the back of a rig with a bunch of firefighters who had no idea who he was at that point. And it was just such a surreal moment. And I love that, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. So enjoy that. That's a great lineup.
Viscuso and Von Oppen in the back of your rig. How would you love to have that?
It was fun, man.
All right. Chief, thank you so much for sharing your Friday evening with us. I cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate you, your friendship and your writing and your passion for this job.
Well, I appreciate that, man. You have a great night. Thanks for the invite, and everybody have a great night too.
Audience, thank you for the questions, the comments, tagging along. Remember, mutts don't scrap. I hope the tone stays silent unless it is burning. Everybody stay safe out there.